Good morning. Welcome to the Good Life Meditation for October 9th, 2016. Got it. So I'm on my way to work right now, my weekend job, driving school instructor. And getting ready for the day. There probably are not too many challenges that I'll face in the course of my work. Being a driving school instructor, the most challenging things I typically face are unexpected turns and stops and the like. It's pretty straightforward. Really a good job. All right, there are three components to the good life. One is the Declaration of Human Rights, followed by the statement of my three objectives, and finally my 7 principles. The affirmation of human rights is a statement that I make, or a bit of a language that I put out that helps me to remember that in my effort to pursue virtue, I can't throw away or neglect the rights of individuals. Because the greatest good, the most concentrated form of good, is social good. But it's easy to pursue social ends and trample upon the little guy in the process. So, and I do have one example that I use over and over. If you've watched these videos, you've heard it. I'll go ahead and say it one more time. And that is, for example, the harvesting of the organs of one individual to pass out to those needy individuals, and then maybe save or improve the lives of a lot of people through the sacrifice of a single individual. Clearly, we don't want to live in a society, at least I don't, and I think I can argue a good case that's not a preferable society to live in, where we select healthy individuals, to act as dispensaries for organs. So that's one example, and I'm still struggling with this whole thing. But the best I can come up with so far is the United States Constitution's Bill of Rights. Maybe there are other documents like Magna Carta and others that are better. I don't think Magna Carta is better, but it's a good start there. Maybe there are others out there better for philosophy, or sets of philosophy that are better, but I haven't run across them yet. I'm still working on it, which I think you get the idea, right? Don't toss away the liberties of the individuals for the sake of the many, or at least don't do so unduly. There's some cases where it is the greater thing, like maybe eminent domain, but that's not really a right? You know, you're going to build a freeway through a particular area of town and take over someone's property to do that. You know, it's a tough thing. I guess that's why they're lawyers, right? Deal with these case by case and have the best laws in place to protect them. Maybe that's why it's better, in fact, for me to simply leverage the legal system rather than to try and prescribe it myself. Who am I to come up with in the course of an afternoon or even a single lifetime a set of laws protecting the individual equivalent to the laws that we have in place that were developed through the hard work, labor, and mistakes and corrections of centuries and generations of individual lawyers, judiciaries, and individuals. Maybe it is better that I simply leverage a better system, like the legal system of my nation, which I think is, for the most part, pretty fair and just. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that I'm going to affirm the rights of the. I'm going to affirm the rights that the rights of the individual should not be sacrificed for the greater good, per the legal system of my country. And so what if I'm saying my country, the United States? I mean, that's the best I can do. You know, I'm an American. I know this system the best. Maybe there's others that are better. I'm getting lost in the weeds in detail there, but I think I made some good progress here today in that. I'm not going to try and recreate it myself, although I'll just toy with it sometimes, you know, because maybe I can come up with a better way to describe it. But that whole body of legal discourse, that whole body of legal knowledge is the thing I'm referring to. Of codification. Is that the right word? Yeah, I like that. not the word, but I like that. I like this whole thing. Let's move on. There are 3 objectives in the path, the good life. I used to call this the Path of Wildness meditation, and then my friend David helped me. He said, the Path of Wildness is something else. He's right. So that's when I changed it to the good life meditation. The 3 objectives. 1, the development of good, sound principles. 2, the cultivation of good emotional reactions. Not running away with our emotions and getting lost in the sound and fury of the rising passions in us. I went on and on about this yesterday, so I won't repeat all that again. Take a look at yesterday's meditation if you want to see more about that. You get the idea, right? I want to live in such a way that I'm not suppressing my emotions, but I'm on top of my emotions. I'm letting the emotions rise and flow out per my executive guidance, the executive oversight of my mind. When someone cuts me off, I feel that flush, and then I take control of it and say, this is the thing that I was training for, and then exercise my better, more mature self. And by the way, I used to think that you were suppressing your emotions when that happened, but believe me, it's not the case. It takes a great consumption of energy to control that. It's like holding down a Tasmanian devil in a bag, trying to get out, and you're in your mind, and you're keeping this cooler, calmer exterior where inside there's banging all over the place. You don't suppress emotions in that way. You are exercising a great deal of emotion and self-control in doing that. Energy. Pardon me. Excuse me. Okay, 3. The performance of good actions. Just do good things. When you figure out what constitutes virtue, which is improving the general welfare of our circumstances, and not welfare, but you know what I mean. Welfare too, maybe too, but making things better. Improving, the best word is well-being, which I didn't come up with. I heard that elsewhere. Matt Dillahunty, Sam Harris, and others talk about that improving the objective well-being of humanity and the planet is a very good thing. This guy's driving too fast. Put on my driving sticker. You're driving too fast. Driving instructor. There we go. Okay, let's move on now to our 7 principles. The first is the atomic principle. Hey, I said it right. I didn't say the principle of the atomic principle. Well, I guess I just did. Atomic principle. Everything in the universe is bits and pieces, flowing and changing, transforming. What we are today is not what we were yesterday, and not what we'll be tomorrow. And in a few more tomorrows, maybe even today, we will be no more. And what we are will dissipate and flow away, and that'll be it, apparently. And keeping that in mind kind of prompts us to action, like making a video this morning and not just holding off till tomorrow. And it also prepares us to be ready for change and the unexpected. 2, the principle of nature. Everything in the universe has a particular nature. Rocks have the nature to be sedentary when they're not rolling downhill, and rather impermeable for the most part, non-sentient. Water has a nature of flowing and settling into spaces and conforming to whatever hollow they may find themselves within. And it also has the nature of being wet. There's enough molecules of water. It's a very curious thing. One molecule isn't wet, but how many molecules of water do you need before it becomes wet? Isn't it just a description we have? Well, I'm coming up. I better go quick. 3, the social principle. The most concentrated form of virtue is of good is the social good, when we're doing things for the benefit of the many, and it's a worthwhile thing. 4, the exercise of temperance. Temperance is restraint. Temperance is the mastery of our decision making, and more importantly, the execution of our decisions, despite our inner restlessness and desire. So if we desire, we want to go out drinking and overdo it, and that's that's typical temperance, right? Temperance with alcohol. If we exercise and restraint from that, that takes some power, some force of will, and it generates some strength. It's like working out a little bit, you work out your muscles, and you work out your will when you exercise temperance. And you can do that with a lot of things: drink, food, work, play, exercise, sex, everything and anything. Is a venue for the application of temperance, and it's a powerful thing. And it's the key to good emotional reactions, when we have the ability to control how we're going to react and respond to a surprise circumstance, like the guy cutting in front of me, or something happening at work, or suddenly a misunderstanding with my spouse that might result in an argument if I run away with it, but instead might turn into a fruitful and productive discussion and clarification of whatever the misunderstanding was. These are great things, and if you can do this, you will become quite a powerful person. In fact, it's the path to self-control. It's the path to maturity in many ways. 5, great indifference. The universe out there seems to be devoid of caring for us, devoid of loving. I used to say that I'd go out to the wilderness and look out into the deeper wild, and that it would stare back at me with the dead eyes of a corpse. But that's even too much. That's a flattery. That's a saying that it actually being a corpse, that it actually once had life. I can't see any evidence of that either. It stares back at me with the dead eyes of a rock, or an empty space, or the flames of a sun, or the dissolution of sand. That's what you see out there. And if you look out and you see something else, if you feel God staring back at you out there, I would ask you to please demonstrate in some way to me that is in fact the case, and that you're not actually just talking to yourself, and that it's not wishful thinking. No one's been able to do that so far. And like I like to say, it's not that I say God doesn't exist. I just have never seen any good reason to think that he or she or it does. So I look out and I see the great indifference. And instead of despair or feeling lonesome, I turn back to the ones that I love, and the ones that love me, and the ones that don't know me. And I try to be a good social individual, conspiring and aspiring to the improvement of well-being of our society through social works, in accordance with my own nature. And now I get almost at the end. Here's work. The principle of reason, governing faculty. Very, very simple. You look at the world, you see what the facts are, you measure these things, you come up with arguments that describe what you see, that have predictive power about how the universe might work, and then you see how those predictions fare. Do they actually yield fruit? I mean, are you actually able to regulate things? If your observation of the tide for a few days gives you some idea about what might be happening, you predict that tomorrow the tide will rise and fall, and it does, you might be onto something there. You might be onto it for wrong reasons, but at least you identified the mechanism there. And then that's why you have to keep on looking at it, right? And see, are you saying that it's rising and falling because Zeus or Poseidon is willing it? So, well, then you're only partially right. You got the rise and fall down by the observation, but your prediction isn't right. And maybe there's more to it. And if you keep weeding it out, you keep teasing it out, this is that iterative process. You'll eventually start to see the problems with that. There is no evidence that there is a Poseidon, and if Poseidon's doing it, just how is Poseidon doing it? You want to know more about the mechanism, you can't investigate that. So then you start looking up, well, the moon's going across, what's going on, it's getting waning and falling, and maybe there's just not enough information, and you have to withhold judgment, in which case reason demands that we withhold judgment. And that's okay too, not knowing. It's the governing faculty. It's the way that we tease out truth from the riot of reality. And the great indifference. And finally, virtue. Virtue is nothing more than the objective pursuit of the improvement of well-being. You know, like I said before, you know, we agree that it's better for humans to have clean drinking water, a good, cheap education for everyone, a clean environment, and yada, 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 all these things. And if we're in agreement that this type of thing is good, that well-being is facilitated through these things, then we have an objective measure by which we can then work together to improve well-being. And that way you arrive at a better world. And here's work. So I got to finish up real quick. So the path of the good life meditation. The good life is nothing more than the pursuit of virtue by way of recognizing that the universe is a transitory place full of bits and pieces that are ever changing, where everything has a particular nature, and it's worthwhile to look out and see what the nature of those things are, as well as recognize our own nature and then live according to that, to pursue social ends, to exercise temperance whenever possible, to understand that the Great Indifference is real, that if there's something otherwise, then you need to provide some good proof that that's the case, to exercise reason as the governing faculty, and you arrive at a good life for us and all. And that's it. I got to sign off. Time for me to become a driving instructor. Okay. See y'all later. Have a great day. 3 students today. I'm looking forward to it. All teens. First, get to help them on the great liberation of their life to become more independent individuals. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a great life. Have a good life.